Ernest Hemingway wrote that every man dies two deaths, once when he is buried, and once when his name is forgotten. In some ways, some men become immortal. And the law has long recognized this. Our legal system, through the doctrine of wills and estates, has given us a way to immortalize our last wishes, a way for us to leave a cognitive shadow that lingers for a moment after our deaths, a way to make our last wishes known to the world. Now, recent advances in technology means that those last wishes can last a little bit longer. This is young Kaylon. Kaylon tragically passed away a few years ago, but before she died, her mother worked with a group of research scientists in Korea to preserve aspects of her being. They looked at data sets comprised of some of her chat histories and reconstructed her in a virtual reality system, one that allowed Kaylon's mother to interact with her as part of the healing process. So as these systems continue to advance, we see advancements not just in persistence, not just in memory, but in presence, a way for us to extend our being from beyond the grave, a way that allows us to resurrect those important aspects of our being, and a way that allows us to leave a last touch on our loved ones. Now, every day, we interact with systems that are gathering pieces of information about us. These digital footprints will linger after we're dead. Now, we all have these devices in our pockets today. Many of you probably used one of these systems to get directions to this very talk. In a very seminal article that came out a few years ago, philosophers Clark and Chalmers wrote about a theory in which aspects of our being are extended through these processes into technology. So when we use a map system like Google Maps or a GPS program on our phone, we're actually extending part of our being into that system. How many of you have used one of these systems and then you've forgotten how you got to the place that you arrived at? In fact, recent research suggests that we're all getting a little worse at navigating new spaces as we come to rely on these systems more and more. Now, in their seminal article, Clark and Chalmers talk about a man named Otto, an Alzheimer's patient, who comes to rely on a notebook as means of storing aspects of his memory. And as Otto's condition worsens, the memory starts to substitute in the notebook. The notebook becomes his means of interacting with the world. And as these artificially intelligent systems continue to evolve, we in fact will start to see more and more of this, not just in the context of navigating new spaces, but in terms of our own cognitive processes, not just in terms of memory, but in terms of cognition and volition and intentionality in the real world. We will start to expand into the digital space in a way that interacts with the physical, a lasting memory that gives us our own immortality. And each of us extends our mind through these processes on a daily basis, a new form of digital immortality. Now, recently, just a few years before his death, actor James Earl Jones signed a contract with Disney that extended to Disney certain aspects of his rights of publicity. The right to use his voice is the seminal science fiction character of Darth Vader. So imagine a world that allows us to not just preserve these aspects of our being, but allows us to extend those aspects beyond the grave. We're moving from a system of passive remembrance to an active one in which memory carries presence and persistence in the real world. Intentionality becomes real. We start to have cause and effect from beyond the grave. Now, as these systems gather more and more information about us, our daily lives, our daily movements, our daily thought processes, the way we think, the way we feel, the groups that we affiliate with, these systems will start to expand into those domains. And we're fast approaching an era in which our will be manifested from beyond the grave. So imagine a world in which leading scientists like Einstein can continue to impact their field of research based on their methodologies that they developed while they were alive. Imagine a world in which politicians can continue to exert political will from beyond the grave. One in which big players in the tech industry start to amass political power, capital, property, control. This is not an if, but a when that we need to address today before the technology pushes the living out from the real world. So it's not just about preservation. The danger is one of control. It's not just about memory, but the danger of dead hand control, what we call governance without the impact of the living. We're talking about more than inheritance today. We're talking about imprisonment in artificial systems. So there are three questions that we should ask ourselves. Where is the line between remembrance and resurrection? Where does progress start to turn into preservation? Are we really talking about leaving a lasting legacy or exerting control from beyond the grave? A problem, mind you, that the legal field has dealt with for centuries. There are a number of various doctrines in the field of property law that try to place limitations on what we can do from beyond the grave. And we need to be thinking about this in different contexts today. Now, think again of the young child. The technology is not all bad, it's not all dark side. There are real therapeutic, beneficial uses of this technology. But we need to make sure and ensure that proper safeguards are placed on this technology. We are entering an era where we will have new relationships with the dead from beyond the grave. So we need to think about using this technology for healing, for teaching, rather than tethering the will of the deceased to the living. About guiding us in the future rather than governing us. Systems that imbue memory rather than control. That have positive applications, positive benefits that we can reap rather than these limitations that the technology can impose. So I want to leave you with the thoughts of Hemingway. The day is fast coming in which our children and our grandchildren will have replicas of us that they can interact with, that they can experience, that they can share memories with and moments based on the things that we do today. So it's important that we leave a good memory for them. It's important that we ensure that the future is safeguarded from too much control from the past. Now, I have a lot of hope for this technology. I hope you share that hope with me. Thank you.